Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett. Today I have her an almond. So here you go, buddy. She was very excited when I pulled the almond out of the. We have like a big jar full of different nuts and stuff in it, and her favorite for sure are the almonds because because they're the only nut that by her very self she can open. The other nuts are a little bit too hard for her. So yesterday was kind of an enlightening day, right, with the voice analyzer, because basically it did not like okay. So my reading of and understanding of this voice API was that the uh, you create the JavaScript, it hands it over to the operating system, then the operating system returns the results, which I guess is the truth with voice synthesis, which is another half of. So the voice API is divided into two halves: voice synthesis and voice recognition. And then that is divided into two halves. The voice recognition is divided into two halves: discrete and continuous. And they do act similar but different. Um, and my that whole concept of it just going to the OS and the OS doing stuff, that's a voice um, synthesis thing. The other side, apparently, which like was just like profoundly different than I thought, was that the browser sends anything voice recognition to the cloud, and then the cloud uh, handles it. So for um, Google, I guess it goes to Google Cloud and uses some of the resources there. And for Edge, it goes to what is it, Microsoft Azure, and it happens there. That's very, very disappointing to me because one, at the top of the list, I think that indicates that if I were to turn it won't work without internet connectivity. So that's kind of a bummer because for an actual productivity tool, you really do want it to be able to work offline. And so this wouldn't work. Anything that we built out of these technologies won't work offline, which that's a bummer. Secondarily, I thought that I could be insulated from whenever this goes from to WebKit to a regular speech recognition. That when that happened, it would um, I would be insulated if I were to like roll up a Chrome in like an Electron application, and I could hold the old version of Chrome in there. So that was like one of my foundational belief systems. It's completely wrong, right? Because if this API changes, it's probably going to be a cloud change as well. Um, so even if you did have an old version of the browser, it won't make a difference because the API will probably break on the other side too. So that's kind of a really major issue. Now, I was watching yesterday, and one of the things I was criticizing, and I have been criticizing, is oh man, like locale. Why should voice recognition be tied to locale? And I guess I understand why now, because like let's try it again. We were trying this yesterday, so it's English is our default. So if I say konnichiwa, see, it gives me this English spelling. Now, I think, and I haven't tried this, but I believe if I were to go to Japanese, which is, I believe what I was saying, and if I'm getting it really bad, please, I apologize. There's no disrespect. I promise you. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the language. Um, Konnichiwa. And see, I think that is the reason you need um, a full locale, is because we want to print it out, and actually not all verbal languages have a written language associated with it, and then there are some examples of verbal languages that have multiple writing systems around them. So like just saying, hey, um, I want to have a voice recognition um, and that's it, just voice only, is actually extremely difficult in the um, like in the context of a browser, because you probably want text, and then I was even complaining about like how um, the Edge will return like punctuation and everything, whereas um, Chrome doesn't. But I think all of those sorts of rules are baked into a whole, the whole thing. All like all of these guys. Do I have it? The full. Gosh, I was just saying the word a second ago. Um, let's see. Control P service, speech service. In our speech service, um, so yeah, it's a shame I called these languages because this isn't right. These are supported languages, supported language map. I don't know why I always draw a blank when I'm trying to remember what recognition. This context. Discrete set property map. Wish I would have named that what it was. Interim results, language. So they called it language too. Um, but I have to get this right. ChatGPT. Is locale. It's a locale. Um, so you kind of need all of that so that you would know like what, like, part of the locale are the letters for that, and stuff like that. So you really wouldn't be able to do any of this sort of um, ideas that I had in mind without a full locale. Like the say hello, because saying hello. But I did just now. I realized how neat it is that when I selected Japan, I got like 91%, but when I in English, I got a 57% that I said konnichiwa. Um, so that's neat. I guess we should try Edge again. Edge is like, you got to be kind of careful with Edge. Like if you're going to be like what I'm doing right now, because it kind of, like, I see people, they'll be sharing their screen and then they'll bring up Edge, and then all of this news sort of pops up. And like, so for me, um, you know, I don't think it shows anything that I care about more than sports. I think it's trying to figure out what I like. But it doesn't. I try to be really careful on Edge not to sort of show my hand of what my political leanings are and stuff like that, because especially on my work computer, because when you share your screen, like, basically everybody gets to see exactly what you search on. So so that is a thing. But anyways, localhost 4200, and let's try setting discrete, and let's try to set it to, well, let's do it first with English. Konnichiwa. Right. So one thing is that, like, Edge does not do confidence, and I don't think confidence is complete enough. So that's one thing. What I bet you there's gonna be massive changes. I bet you the whole whenever they do get this, which could be like decades from now, or it could be in 6 months. There's just no telling. It's probably going to be closer to decades than 6 months. But but now let's change this to Japanese. Konnichiwa. Yeah, and see how it gives this. Now I can't read these characters, so that's why I like the Say Hello program will be really nice because it can read these characters and it can give me like a thumbs up or a thumbs down or whatever if I get it right. But as you can see, we get only one response back, even in so so now let's say hola, right? For like Spanish in Japanese. Hola. Yeah, so there's no telling what that means. Now let's try it in. Well, let's try this. Hola, ¿cómo estás? So that's what hola, ¿cómo estás looks like in Japanese. But now let's take that exact same thing and do it in English. Hola, ¿cómo estás? And that's English. And now let's try that in Mexican Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? So see these upside down question marks and accents and things like that. That all comes from the what is that called again? I can't believe locale. That's all locale driven. Um, so like in English, it'll do a good job. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Let's go to Google. What does this mean in English? I mean, this what I'm doing right now was like complete science fiction just a few years ago. Um, look this star, look this stars. Um, so I said, "Hey, look at the star. Look at these stars." Blah blah blah. Blah. So that's what "Hola, cómo estás?" So this is what I said. Into a voice recognition. To get Japanese result. Spanish, hi, how are you? A Japanese transcription came out, which sounds phonetically similar, especially to a Japanese aura, which means looks. Um, Como estas sounds vaguely similar to, though it is gibberish in Japanese, so Spanish in sound. That is fascinating to me. I don't really think like what I just did was even possible. Like there was absolutely no possibility of what I just did in 2000. In the year 2000, you could not have ever done what we just did, what we just witnessed right there. This technology that gave us the opportunity to do that, to say "Hola, cómo estás" to something that's listening for Japanese and gives us some rough translation, which means, um, "Hey, look at this star," or "Look at these stars," or "Look this star." Like so that was fun. That was really cool. Who knows if it's right? There's just no telling. Um, but anyways, so yeah, so I learned a lot about how this tool really exposed how the API works to me in a way that just where I was just completely barking up the wrong tree and doing things incorrectly. So that kind of thing 20 years ago, that sort of experience would have been quite a painful experience for me. Um, when I would strongly believe something and find out I was completely wrong, that hurt. Um, that is just a reality of modern software development. You have no choice but to try to create abstractions in your head to explain how things that you don't understand work, and your chances of being right on most of those abstractions is like almost zero. So you have to get very, very comfortable with being wrong. But that's difficult because if you're comfortable with being wrong, it's hard to project your confidence level in what you're saying. So you might say something and everybody may be reading it as like, oh, he's 100% sure of this. And it's only because I'm comfortable of being wrong. But so sometimes you have to use your facial expressions, you have to use all your context to sort of communicate or specifically state, oh, I'm not sure about this, but this is what I believe. I have a 30% confidence in what I'm saying right now. Like, and my understanding is there are actually some languages where they actually have variations in words to um, that convey what your percentage or how strongly you believe something or how you know something. Like it actually has it in the language that you actually saw this or you heard about this from somebody who saw it directly, or you heard about this from somebody who's only heard about this, or you thought of it, but you never heard anyone say it or confirm it, right? Like they actually have that built in a lot of languages, but those languages are very structured. It's hard to say anything. It's hard to be creative in those languages. So, anyways, that's fun. What we need is a little bit more, what would you call it? Pedestrian. We need a paging scheme. So, because in I wonder. Okay, so what we are? I believe we are in Japanese, right? Yeah. Does this one work as Japanese? Konnichiwa. Yeah. So that makes me happy because, and it's kind of funny because it's not returning anything that it didn't understand. So, like, if I do that, hola, ¿cómo estás? Okay, so this is what it gave me, and it gave me a bunch. So over here, oh wait, you silly rabbit. Um, okay, so let's try this. I'm curious what this means, and it might actually be the exact same. Nope, it's different. So it is weird, right, that we get different results depending on whether we're doing discrete or continuous, um, and we got like a pretty good, not, it's still not, but it seems. Oh my gosh. Como Estás sounds like a mashup of but Common Stars, Phonetic, set Como Estás. So, anyways, like, so these are kinds of fun things that we can do. We need to get implement paging, and I believe Angular Material has a paging scheme. Um, so let's see how that works. Uh, I'm not 100% sure on that either. There we go. Items per page. Okay, so I want this, but without the items per page. I just want it to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or, I mean, a next or previous. I just want a next or a previous only. So, like, I just want this to be like the number and next or previous. So, and I guess I was like kind of like frustrated, or frustrated is not the right word, but I was kind of like dumbfounded the other day when I saw that for regular vanilla JavaScript HTML, when I did this same series for that, I only had like 13 videos. For this, I have 111 videos. And it's just like, now this is so much nicer than the JavaScript one, but and vanilla JavaScript HTML one, but man, that's a lot. But the thing is I'll probably spend 3 videos just trying to implement this paging. So, you know, I don't know how much time we spent on those 111 videos with just generic rambling, trying things out, playing around, having fun, um, with Angular Material specific, or with um, on Angular specifically, and then Voice API. You know, it's all mashed up together. Um, So, anyways, okay. So this thing's called a paginator, and let's look at the HTML for this. Um, so it looks like you don't have any things. I would love to be able to actually. What happens if I? Okay, so I can go to Stack Blitz. So let's try that. Stack Blitz. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. So booting web container. And so it has the HTML. Doesn't look like it's very narrow friendly, which I don't blame them. I mean, it's a lot going on. So what I want to see is if I get rid of the page size and the page size options, if I get just the next and previous. I wonder how it even knows what page we're on. And this thing is just taking forever. I mean, it's so one of those things where like the technology is so insanely impressive, but okay, so let's go ask ChatGPT while we wait on this. And I don't know what if I make this smaller, does it? Yeah, it's fine. Thinking about using Map Paginator. But all I want next. Because I only want to show one record. Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of seems like it. I did want to try. Let's try this just to be um, like just do our due diligence and see what happens if we don't give it anything. It looks like it doesn't. Yeah, it looks like it kind of it just gave it a default of like 50. What if we do page size 1 and no options? I feel like that's nice though. '11 through 11 of 100. It's nice, but I guess it is a bit confusing. It's like too much information. Yeah, maybe all we want is like 2 buttons like that on the left and the right. All right, that was a good idea though. It's good. It's sort of important to like. That's another perfect example where like you might find yourself as a developer being the only one in there going, and they're like, "Oh, can we use the map paginator for paging? Because we're doing paging, so the paginator's for that." And in this situation, the paginator is probably not the right solution. So I guess what we will do is we'll start with just 2 strings. Let's hit this back button. Close others, but we don't actually want that one, I think. Well, I guess that is the one we want. Okay, so let's look at this thing here. So next to records, we probably want to just put, let's put a span and say the word previous. It's definitely not how I want it to work. Like it's probably, I'll use material buttons for this. And probably like icons, the next and previous icon that we saw before. But and then we'll just add a click handler equals, and then we'll put these little parentheses around it, and then we'll just say next. And so let's just make sure that's wired right. And this is like one of those things where it's just like there's so many different starting places. Trying to figure out exactly what is the best place to kind of start working on this is kind of tricky. So next is not going to accept anything. It's not going to return anything. Now, if I was writing unit tests, I would definitely return the number or something. But since there's no unit tests on this, .log show the next. So I think what this did to me is it actually sort of defined how I should do this. And I think the easiest way to do this will have current index. And the current index defaults to 0. And then what we'll do is we'll go over here into our HTML, and instead of that being all request lengths -1, we'll call that current index. Now, the problem is that we don't want the first one, we want the last one. But let's just make sure that nothing's just broken at this point. Konnichiwa. Yeah, so see, we're still looking at the very first one, even though there's 8 of them. So what I think the right thing to do is whenever we get a result back, make the current index the last one. And I think it's -1 because the last one is actually one more than they're addressed. Arrays are addressed 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, but like if there's 4 of them, the length is 4, but the last one is in 3, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So that's what that is all about. Konnichiwa. That doesn't make me happy. That was interesting. So there's 2 right here, there's 17 signals. Doesn't look like we're looking at. And that's because it's actually signal count -1. Right, is that right? Here, let's console log the continuous result. Result. And result. Yeah, I think this technology is a real game changer, but it's a bit stuck. And it'll probably be a long time before what they call the smart money or institutional money is interested in playing around in here. But it's a freaking great thing for us little minnows, you know, our regular human peoples to play around with. You know, it's just neat. Anyways, Konnichiwa. Okay, so the length of result is 1. Ah, because we take result, and that's that, but it's actually all requests length, not. Oh, that's funny too, because I was already doing result there. Console X. So it's all requests minus 1. Now let's try that. Konnichiwa. Okay, so that's working great. I guess we want to be, we are looking at the 9th signal. So I think it also would work if we said signal count minus 1. Let's try that. And the only reason I think they're both the same, the only reason I kind of want to go with signal count is because it's truer. And in the future, when I go back and try to do maintenance on this, I don't need that sort of layer of, oh, this is true because of this. Just tell me the truth. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. Konnichiwa. So that's pretty cool. It's wild that I call konnichiwa. And then this one is funny. I wonder what that is. It's probably like, I don't know. All right, so, and it's so wild because over here, konnichiwa. Yeah, I only get 2. So, anyways, and then I guess it's so weird because, like, if I ask ChatGPT, yeah, so that's so wild. So we get it direct, but that's I guess because we don't have anyone any any oh, I like that. That sorry. Um, we don't have any words that sound kind of like this in our language, so there's no getting confused. But anyways, what are we doing next? What are we doing next? What are we doing next? Okay, so basically I want to come over here and I just want the current signal count minus 1. So let's come over here, not in the result component, but over here, and just say like, wrong one. Okay. So this will probably actually keep. So I'm going to make, actually I'm going to take this whole thing. Wait, view signal 1 of 1 signals. Okay, I already have this signal. And I'm actually saying I'm viewing it. Okay, so then I don't think I need that. Well, I do. Yeah, I guess I do need the record and then next. And so what next is going to do when we click next is it will, let's just make sure it's wired right. Yeah, show the next. What we'll do is we'll actually change the record to, and it's kind of weird because we're actually on the last record, so it's previous that will change the record. So let's go click and let's add the previous function. Oh, it's a subset that the function doesn't exist yet. And this is kind of exciting for me because I have absolutely no idea what we're going to see after we actually implement this. I've had to build so many paging schemes over the years. Hello, how are you? Okay, so that all that does is that. So now we want to take the current index is equal to this dot current index minus 1. And we really only want that to happen if the current index is greater than 0. We don't want to go below 0, but hello, how are you? So there we go. So these are what the different ones look like. Hello, how? And then transcript. Oh, so we had 2 records at one point. And so next we'll, as long as this current index is less than the length of all results, we want to, I guess we don't need this console log up here anymore. See, this is like kind of like going really smooth for me right now. And the reason it's going really smooth for me is because I've done it a million times. Sometimes I'll spend an hour just fiddling around because it's new. So we only want to increment it if if it's not to the last one yet. And then yeah, anytime there's going to be a change, it's going to change the current. So like if you're already looking at something, it's going to change it whenever there's a change. But we kind of get a whole new set of records every time we do one of these. So hello, how are you? Okay, so previous. So our viewing signal is wrong. It's saying we're looking at 13 of 13, but this seems to be working. I don't know what it did at this point, but it would be useful to actually show the current index plus 1, right? Because we're not viewing signal 0 when we're at the very first one. We're viewing signal 1. So what is viewing signal current index? And I think we can just add a plus 1 in here. So viewing signal 1 of 1 signals. Hello, how are you? So now we're viewing signal 12 of 12. If we hit previous, now 11 of 12, 10 of 12, 9 of 12. That's so crazy that the confidence was so low on that. All right, so now I thought it, okay, so that seems wrong, right? No records found. Oh, okay, so no, signal 2 apparently didn't have anything in it. Now next. It felt like next broke when we got to the very end. 13, yeah, so That shouldn't happen. I thought we added some code to not let this happen. If current index, oh, -1. No, current index. Oh yeah, is less than all requests. All right, what are you doing? And I just can't even begin to tell you how many hours upon hours without any help from ChatGPT or even like Stack Overflow. The very first time I had to implement like sort of a paging thing like that is. So if you have to imitate a paging scheme like that, it's probably going to be harder for you than it was for me. Um, it just comes with practice. Um, Other times you'll see me working on things that will take hours that should have taken 5 minutes if I had a lot of practice. Um, Going out and trying to like code something from scratch the first time is much like going out and shooting a basketball at a basketball hoop for the first time. Like just everything's off. All the mechanics, you don't have any of the mechanics, muscle memories, nothing. Um, Hello, how are you? All right, so it should not let me go to 13, but it did. Why? Why? Why are you doing this? You had one job. Next. Okay, so my current index right now is 12. All request length is 12. Okay, so I guess it's, yeah, length -1. Because, yeah, I guess that will take it to the last value. Weird. So strange. I don't know. And if I'm being 100% honest, doesn't quite make sense to me right now, which I know that I have seen this exact thing before and it made total crystal clear sense to me in the past. So I guess my brain is a bit diminished at the moment. Don't know why. Um, yes, sometimes you have good days, some days you have bad days. It's very important to pay attention. Hello, how are you? Okay, good. So now, that's funny. All right, so it won't let me go to the next. And see, that is another thing is like just whenever I would forget to stop it before I had it turning red like that, it was always mentally jarring for me. Now that it looks totally different, I go, oh yeah, I forgot. Um, see, okay, good. So the very last thing it said was it had 3 records and that. So we probably don't want to have. It's kind of weird though. So this is one full record and that's one full record. Um, we need some way to differentiate these two, but they probably should only have one set of that. Right now, this is probably the best way to do this, but there's got to be a better, more attractive way. Because basically, we got 2 discrete sets of sentences that it thought we said. Hello, how are you? And then the second one, it was like, okay, so, okay, good, so now, or okay, good. What's the difference? Oh, the okay. So they gave us 2 choices on this. Um, but anyways, I think this looks really good, but I'd rather have like a matte icon, like the left and the right button. Um, and I probably want the previous to be to the left of the number of records. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it'll look better. This, and instead of having a break there, I just want to put that in its own div. So I used to watch all my videos like locally, um, and that was good. Like it was good. But um, I started watching my videos on the platform, on the YouTube platform instead. And man, my number of like views, and I like them. The number of views like probably quadrupled, which isn't saying that much because I used to get like 3 views, now I get like 12 views or something like that. And like the number of subscribers has gone up a lot more. So I sort of stagnated where basically whatever it took, I was getting I think one new subscriber every week. So if I lost 5 subscribers, I would gain 6. If I lost 2 subscribers, I would gain 3. But once I actually started watching my own videos, engaging in my own videos on the platform as opposed to watching the videos on my local machine, all of that, like I said, like now I get usually a new subscriber almost every single day. Every week I get like plus 7 or 8 subscribers. And before I was getting plus 1. So, I don't know, something. So previous, and so for some reason, oh, okay, next needs to be up here. But this guy, so this might be a good candidate to be made into its own um, component. This this div right here, and even the div up here might even be a good. Like if I had like if I was working in a place and we had new junior developers, turning this into its own component, perfect task for a brand new developer. Um, yeah, that would just let them kind of the chances that they break some unintended consequence go way down with that kind of thing. Let's see. So previous 0 records next. Hello, how are you? So now previous, and there's 2 records. It's kind of interesting how the 2 records, I think, stays the same all the way through. Oh, this one. Well, so it's, oh, so the 2 records seems to be wrong. Okay, and that is definitely wrong. It's all requests length index. The index of this dot length. So the index of the all requests, the current index length is the number of records we have. And that's a really good example of something that is just so easy to fix now that would probably be a lot harder later. Hello, how are you? So we have 1 record, previous, 1 record, 1 record, 2 records, 2 records. So that is really cool. And now, yeah, so now let's see, how far are we in on this? Oh, 48 minutes. Okay, so this would be a good time to stop. Yeah, so next is just to put matte icons for next and previous, and um, I think that will do it for the UI. Is there? I feel like that's that. Because I think I only want to see 1 record at a time. Um, and I think that's really nice the way that is. I guess we could use some cleanup on this. Like, probably need to like put like a border around each individual record and then have a transcript. No, I don't think so. Well, yes, because the thing is yeah, there was. Let's see. Let's try it again. Hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? Yeah, see, this is the situation. So, like in that previous situation, it made a lot of sense to um, to just put like a or to just get rid of this and then have these, but that is not the case. Now, one of the things that's kind of a bummer on this is the widths of the columns are different. So we may want to try to deal with that. Um, so yeah, so we have to do some cleanup along in these tables, and we need to turn these into icons. And then I think we'll be done with the UI of this, and it'll be time to get the settings working. And then once the settings are working, then we'll circle back and add um, grammars. And once the grammars is working, um, well, okay, once the settings is working, I guess we'll look at the logs and just make sure that they still make sense. Because these logs are sort of designed for for discrete. But I think it's I don't know. Yeah, I think that this is incomplete. But it may not even. Yeah, I don't know. It may not be worth it getting those logs working. Um, for being getting the logs a little bit more detailed or accurate or complete, I guess is the right word. Um, because we have this, so I don't think the logs are as. I think what the deal is that these things are not as complex as I was thinking they would be when I kind of came up with the idea of logs. So, oh, we don't need this top thing anymore, I don't think. Started true. I think this whole table can just go away now. I don't think it's adding any value. It was absolutely just incredibly eye-opening and valuable when we started it. But, hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? So that's 23 signals. And you can kind of see over the time how things changed, how it came in. And I don't really, as now that I've kind of am looking at these old ones, I don't see any value in them at this point in time. They do not seem to provide any value. Um, it seems like all I care about is the last. Hello, how are you? So, like, let's say we were making a card, a flashcard, like, okay. What is the capital of Georgia? Atlanta. Now that's weird. I don't know where it came up with the period. And see, I think Edge works a little better. So let's go back to Edge. Uh, apparently, I told it to print something. Cancel. Uh, Edge. Localhost 4200. Let's see. Continuous. And what did I try before? What is the capital of Atlanta? And then, what's the capital of Georgia? Atlanta. What's the capital of Georgia? Atlanta. See, that is so much better. It's kind of like weird. Like, we probably will want to remove punctuation. I don't know. I don't think that is helpful, but I don't think that would be very hard. But it is funny because, like the business logic for Chrome would be to add a make the first letter of this uppercase and then add a period or a question mark, and then in this one it will be to remove the period. But it definitely seems like for the application I was thinking of, I definitely want the flashcard application. I will definitely want to use Edge. I think Edge will be better for that. Um, and I do want to say that, like, honestly, this technology is kind of like not a great idea probably to build an entire application on, because um, it can get just shut off. Like they can shut off those Google clouds and the Microsoft Edge cloud or the Microsoft cloud cloud services, and or they can modify them and it completely break. So the thing is like with the voice API for the discrete, the say hello, like that entire application is useless without the voice API. But the flashcards, let's say this, they support this technology. Let's say they support it for 10 years, right? So we are in 2025, so 2035, this technology, they decide to cut it off. They decide, okay, we've collected whatever their motivation to keep it up now, that motivation's gone, and they decide to shut it down. Well, you still have all the flashcards. Like over the 10 years, if you made 10,000 flashcards a year, you still have 100,000 flashcards, as long as saved them in some JSON and all that. So your application still works. You still have got the momentum there. So even after that, maybe you can come up with a different technology to still use voice, or once you have all those, you could just do them by hand after that. But anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.